Hi, thank you for joining this week's Paralegal Power Break. In this week's Paralegal Power Break, I am going to discuss new trends in paralegal employment. So I'm going to focus on 4 specific areas that are expanding for paralegals: contract management, e-discovery, freelance paralegal jobs, independent paralegal jobs, and document preparers, which are called in some jurisdictions. So I first want to just provide, the new trends, like a background about that, where, that is, some of that is stemming from. In the legal landscape now, there's a lot of changes that are going on, some because of technology. And so there's a technology explosion. You have more and more routine tasks that are being done using technology. So things that were traditionally done, face-to-face or with paper are now being done using technology. So it's changing the legal landscape. And we'll discuss that when we get to the e-discovery section here. So technology is changing and creating new trends for paralegals, but also the demand from the public. And supply always follows demand, or company offerings is always going to follow the demand of the public if the particular company or industry wants to stay viable. Meaning that if the public is, more people are becoming health conscious, then you'll see, like with McDonald's and different companies, offering more healthy foods like salads, and they'll offer more products that are low fat, low calorie, because the public is demanding that. So in order for them to be able to stay viable and meet that need and not lose their customers, then they change with those demands from the public. Same thing in the legal industry. The public is demanding lower cost legal services. The public is voicing their concern about the high cost of legal services. So the legal industry, the legal landscape is changing in order to accommodate that. So some of these trends that are opening up for paralegals are due to the demands from the public. So in this particular session, I'm going to discuss 4 different trends that are changing as far as employment for paralegals. So if you're looking to enter the paralegal field or transition to a new job, this is good to keep in mind as far as what areas you might look at. And I'm not going to cover everything in this particular session, because there's, I'll briefly mention a few at the end, but I want to focus on these particular areas because they are where a lot of the growth is, and where there's a lot of resources available if you're looking to go into one of these areas. So these are some new trends, again, that are the result of technology and the demand from the public for lower cost legal services. So I'm going to first start off by discussing contract management. Now, I recently spoke with a legal recruiter and asked, what are those trends? What are the trends that are occurring as far as hiring trends for paralegals? And this particular recruiter mentioned that companies are actually hiring paralegals now for contract management positions. So, when they're looking for employees to add to their company for contract management roles, they'll put in the language that they will accept an attorney or a paralegal. And so, companies are seeing now that paralegals in certain roles can be of great use because of their legal skills and their legal knowledge. So contract management, you may see, again, a lot of employers that are actually, looking for paralegals for contract management positions. Also, e-discovery is an area where there's a new trends of employment for paralegals, because with e-discovery, there's a a need to have individuals that are not only savvy as far as it comes to technology, but also that have an understanding of legal practices. So before, there would be a gap between the technology knowledge and the legal knowledge. So let's say you have a law firm that's working on a case. They may have the knowledge to do traditional discovery, but when it comes to dealing with e-discovery, as far as discovery that needs to rely on more advanced technology skills, then there would be a lack of expertise in that particular area. So law firms would rely on third-party e-discovery service providers to be able to fill in that gap. Well, with the e-discovery service providers, they may have the technology knowledge and understanding of systems and how to extract information from different systems and devices, but they would lack the legal knowledge to be able to understand issues as far as confidentiality, privilege, language, as far as reading documents to understand if something is relevant to a case or not. So there would be the gap between the two. So now e-discovery service providers are understanding that legal professionals that have technology knowledge are extremely beneficial for assisting with e-discovery projects, or also law firms that have an employee, a paralegal, or an attorney that has technology knowledge is extremely useful. So now you'll have, companies that request, a paralegal. Like I know the Association of Certified E-Discovery Specialists, they're actually having a summit that's coming up later this year. That's what it's focusing on. It's focusing on the paralegal in that e-discovery role. So organizations and companies are seeing that there is a great need for, again, professionals with that legal knowledge and that technology knowledge. And because paralegals are a lot of times the ones that are working with these different systems, they have a lot of technology knowledge in addition to their legal skills. So as far as new trends in employment for paralegals, you'll see and are seeing more companies that are requesting paralegals to fill e-discovery roles. And also, freelance paralegals are also increasing in demand because companies, law firms, are looking to cut back on their overhead costs and are understanding that when they contract work out to paralegals, legal professionals, they are saving a huge amount in overhead costs as it relates to employee taxes, benefits, and expenses. And also when a contract or freelance paralegal has their own office space or works virtually, they're even saving on those overhead costs for having a space available for the individual to work in. So you have companies now like Odesk and Elance where you can actually connect with different employers that are seeking freelance paralegals in virtual roles. A lot of them are virtual roles, but some are requesting individuals that can actually work in their office, but mostly virtual roles to be able to fill their staffing needs. And then in addition to the freelance paralegals, you also have independent paralegals, or in some jurisdictions they're called legal document preparers. Now at the beginning I started off by saying that these new trends in employment for paralegals are the result of changes in technology, but also from the demand from the public, and the demand from the public for lower cost legal services. So there's bar associations and organizations that understand that there is a need that is not being met. And so the different bar associations, government agencies, legislatures will enact certain rules and laws in order to allow non-attorneys to provide a certain amount of legal assistance to the public. And this is in the role as an independent paralegal or a legal document preparer. I know jurisdictions like Florida, Arizona, California and Washington have these particular rules where individuals that have legal training, so they're typically individuals that have paralegal training, can provide certain limited amount of services to the public, document preparation services, and then in Washington, they can also provide a limited amount of legal advice to assist the individuals to with preparing legal documents for their particular matter. So, when looking at these new trends in employment, it's important to follow and understand where these trends are stemming from. And the reason why that's important, because again, although these are 4 areas that there's changes going on in the demand for paralegal professionals, there's also other areas. So when you look at things like right now, our country is undergoing like a lot of healthcare changes. And so there is the need for legal professionals with understanding of healthcare law and also elder law because of our aging population. So when positioning yourself or deciding, what area you want to go in, if you're a new paralegal, if you're looking for a job change, you may not see the trend right now, as far as it might not be well known. But if you look at trends that are going on overall, then you can actually be able to spot a trend before it actually is something that's well known. As far as, again, with our country is having a lot of changes in healthcare. So, that's an area where you can look for roles that someone with legal expertise would be a benefit. And so you can spot those particular changes and be able to position yourself to be successful in your career and to be able to, take advantage of, changes that are going on within the legal industry. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I hope this particular session was helpful and useful. There will be some different resources available, so you can find more about learning more about e-discovery, how to do some freelance paralegal work, and also reach out to different individuals in the forum, post any questions or comments that you have, and others can answer your questions, or I can also answer any questions that you have. But hopefully this particular session was useful, and I hope to have you next week in the session. I'm hoping to have some live sessions soon available, so you can ask questions live, but for now you can post those in the discussion.